Hey, Sox fans. Welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, a local fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast, hosted by Nick Murawski and Pat Hester.
Yeah, hey, Sox fans. Welcome back to Good Guys Talk Back. Hey, this is episode 298, counting down to that magical number 300. I absolutely can't believe it. We are into season 7. Thank you so much for being with us. I am Nick Murawski, and this is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. We do this every other week during the off season, but boy, we're getting to spring training very soon. And opening day is somewhere around 50 days away or something. You'll have to correct me on the math. But a lot of stuff to get to with this promo schedule. Man, was that a fun release, and some Sox stuff, Sox Fest stuff, and some things that Getz is talking about, and what's happening with Luis Robert Jr. But thank you so much for being with us on Sunday night on the Good Guys Talk Back YouTube channel. We do this at 9:15, audio available everywhere. With me, as always, my best friend, diehard Sox fan, Pat Hester. Hello, sir.
Nick, it's great to be back with you. I know the off seasons are tough because, we're taking sometimes several weeks off in between recordings, but it's great to talk to you when we have things to talk about, right? There's been some things that we can reminisce, and we will have baseball this month, which is interesting. And farm systems are being ranked. We're at that point into the rebuild where we're now getting excited about farm systems and where the rankings, what publications you listen to, where we might fall, which is fun. But I did have, if you don't mind, I had a story from this past week that I saved for just this moment. If you'd be okay if I just regale you with this story.
Stories. Love them from you.
It's not baseball related, but it is a story that I'd like to get your honest feedback on. So this past week, I had the pleasure of helping to launch America's oldest brewery, Yuengling in Illinois, which is fun and fantastic. So I spent a lot of my time this week in and out of bars. It was a fun week. Draft lines being put on all over the city and all over the state. I happen to be set up shop in Chicago, so in and out of a lot of bars, right? And so I was with this wonderful sales rep, Irene, from Chicago Beverage, and we popped into this account, and we're talking to the bartender and the owner and thanking them for the business. So I thought, while we're here, I'll buy a beer for Irene and I, right? Just to say thank you and spend a little money in this person's account. So as we're having a cocktail, I said, well, excuse me, I need to go and use the washroom. So I will be right back. Now, mind you, this is probably 2:00 in the afternoon. It's not busy in the bar by any means. It's myself, Irene, and maybe 3 or 4 other people at the bar, including the bartender. So I go to the bathroom and I go to the urinal and I start to conduct my business at the urinal when I hear in the stall next to me a gentleman talking. And I thought this was interesting. He's talking. So I'm proceeding to go to the washroom, and I can tell that the gentleman in the bathroom is in the middle of conducting a job interview. I hear things like, well, we've looked at your resume and we're really impressed with what we see.
Wait a second. He's on speaker?
He's not on speaker. I don't know if he's got the earbuds in, or he's on Teams, or he's just on the phone. But he's conducting a job interview while he's in the, now whether he's, pants down to his ankles, sitting there, going to the bathroom or not, he's still in the bathroom in a bar at 2:00 in the afternoon conducting the interview. So now I'm thinking to myself, I'm about to finish up here. I can't flush the toilet. The person on the other line hears a toilet flush. This could be the big opportunity they've been waiting for. I don't want to deter them from taking this job. So I don't flush, and I go to wash my hands. I turn around to dry my hands. No paper towels. It's the hand dryer. So again, I can't turn on the hand dryer. And I'm thinking to myself, this poor person, maybe this is the job of a lifetime they've been waiting for. And I don't want to deter them from taking this great opportunity that could set up their kids for years to come by turning on the hand dryer. So I just walked away and shook my hand and left. But I just thought it was the oddest thing to have someone conducting a job interview while in the bathroom, in the stall, in a bar. Now, Nick Murawski, you've had several jobs in your career, and you've been very successful at every single one of them.
Yeah.
You had the next opportunity, not saying there's another one, but maybe you have another opportunity down the line. And it's you've been waiting for your whole life. But you find out the person that's hiring you is doing the job interview from a stall. Do you still go for that job?
I still go for that job because I'm gonna try to make a case for this gentleman. Maybe there's no office space. What kind of bar was this? Was there a back room at all? Maybe that's where he had to conduct meetings and such. He figured it's during the day. It's not going to get heavy traffic in this bathroom.
He's thinking, who's this jackaloon coming in and using the bathroom while I'm trying to work in my office?
Was it was it the handicap stall, or the larger? Did he have a little bit more room?
You know what? It wasn't that large of a bath. It had, I think it was only one stall, so it had to be the one. I guess
you couldn't tell if he was standing or if he was sitting.
I didn't peer underneath. I didn't do a lot of recon when I walked in. I was just thought this is a normal trip to the urinal. I'm gonna do my thing, wash my hands, and get back to my regular life. And that happened. So it was so odd that I saved it for you tonight to get your reaction. I don't know that I could take a job if I knew the other person that was giving the interview was.
If it's the job of a lifetime and you're like, I want this job. And I would say, even if we were on a Zoom interview and I could tell in the background that he was in a stall, I would probably.
How would you, unless they had it blurred out, Nick? I mean, I can tell. You know, I can tell that you're not currently in a stall. You could probably tell that I'm not currently in a stall.
But how brazen would that be? You're conducting an interview from a bathroom stall, and you have the technology. You have the ability to blur your background. You could do some sort of, island, some kind of safari background. But you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it as is. You see what you get here. This is, I'm interviewing you from a stall, but maybe you don't know what was said at the beginning of that interview, Pat. That gentleman might have said, hey, I got to be completely honest with you. Space is really tight right now. I'm in the bathroom talking to you. So I wanted to talk to you, had to talk to you. Really excited about this, but I am in a stall right now. You need
what if it was a job for a plumber? Then would that be, okay? Like, okay, what do you do? I'm in a bathroom.
Yeah, maybe this bar was trying to get somebody on retainer. I need a plumber on retainer. And I guess if you're interviewing from the stall, you might not think very highly of the person or the position. I don't know. I just have to assume there's no office space. Did you tell Irene when you finished up drinks with her? Did you say, something's conducting an interview in there?
You'll never believe.
Maybe it's not even somebody that works at the bar. That would be the other funny thing. If someone is like, hey, I forgot I got to interview this person. I might as well just duck into this bathroom.
It wasn't that busy. There was nobody there. You could have sat down at a table and had the same conversation. Anyway, I had to tell her this story.
That is a crazy story. It's a shame we're never going to know the end of this. Now I need to know if this person got the job or if he was hired or what happened.
It sounded like it was going well.
Oh boy. Well, that's good for them. You know what? Sometimes you gotta just make lemonade, man. You gotta make lemonade out of the lemons that you're dealt with. And again, if you ever go back to that facility, hopefully you can get some sort of intel.
Maybe that's just what happens there. Maybe that's what it's just known in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I will now be anticipating a job interview next time I go to the bathroom somewhere in a bar for sure. Want to thank and say hello to Matthew and Peyton, Sydney, Scott, Pete, Steve, Howard. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday night with us here. It's Groundhog Day again, so happy Groundhog Day. I think the Punxsutawney Phil saw its shadow. So what does that mean? 6 more weeks?
6 more, 6 more weeks of
which has
winter.
been a mild winter here in the Chicagoland area. Hopefully I didn't jinx it, but it's gray, it's dreary, and I'm starting to get that itch, Pat. I'm looking, we all knew this was going to happen, no matter how bad things went last year, and they were historically awful, and how bad they might be in 2025. I need it, man. I need some White Sox baseball.
Well, I have plans on going to opening day. I don't know if you do have the same desire.
You've already made plans, or are you just?
I'm working on tickets as we speak. You know me, I don't like to pay for things, so
yeah,
I'm working on getting tickets. So if you'd like to go,
yes, I'm down.
You're down.
Okay.
I'm down. I just want to make sure. I don't want to assume that you would want to. Lord knows we're not watching it on TV, so
right.
Might as well go. So I'll put a request in. Two table for two.
Please. That would be great. I will buy you a grilled onions, kosher's best, whatever type of dog.
Well, you know what I want though. You know what I want, the secret, the sandwich that you can't find unless you ask them, with the marinara,
and we found out what happens with that. It's on a small sign near the counter. Like marinara on request or whatever. So we figured
you
that
get
out.
Like the Italian sausage with the marinara and the grilled onions and the peppers.
And that was a boiled sausage, I want to believe.
Whatever it is. That's
with
what
peppers
I want.
Too. With
peppers. You bring a knife and fork to that meal.
Yep. Okay, I've got you that. Let me know how that goes. But we're what, 50 something days left till opening day. Pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting in a couple weeks. I think maybe February 17th, mid February. I'm excited. There's not really much to be excited about except for this insane promo schedule, and that's really why I want to spend a ton of time on it. And people that are good enough to follow us and watch here on Sunday night and be with us, jump in. I want to hear some of your favorites about this promo schedule. But right before Sox Fest, as we had kind of anticipated from our last show, that promo schedule was going to start getting leaked and it was going to drop. And I heard from some people that did go to Sox Fest, get kind of small, little disorganized. But a unique, they took a risk. They had a unique situation with Ramova, small crowd, small venue, kids stuff was kind of off-site, but I think autographs were still being had. It was really all the Mark Burley stuff was on Friday, I think. And then this promo schedule and hearing from, guys like Getz and some other folks. So, Pat, you've gone on record as said you are not a promos person. We talked about it last show. We peppered, back and forth of what we were hoping for. And by the way, somebody in marketing and promo is listening to this podcast and has been listening, because they hit on two of the big things that I've been hammering away at. The third is yet to come. This is the year for it, but we'll talk specifics. But you have said, look, I'm not into promos. It's not going to get me to the ballpark. I think they might have turned you with this release.
Well, they got me. They had me excited about a promo schedule. I mean, listen, I show up to the ballpark, I get a free hat or a free bobblehead or a free cup of some sort. I'm happy with it. I'm not going to turn it away, but I've never really planned my game day experience around, making sure I've got to be there and I've got to get in line for this. If I'm there and I'm in line for something and I get something, great. If I don't get it, that's okay. But these are some fantastic promotional items. So, I mean, honestly, Nick, I was thinking about this before the show, and I knew this would be something you'd want to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I perused it and I wrote down 13 different things that I think that would motivate me to go to a game. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't know and I know it's not something I'm a big fan of, is talking about attendance, but this will drive people. I've been there when the team is bad and there's the hockey jersey giveaway nights or the certain bobblehead nights. People line up in droves. Now, whether they stick around for the game or not, that's another story, but people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come. So, do you want me to list off you don't want me to do 13 of them. Do you want me to just pick my maybe top 5? How do you want me to?
I am shocked, man. A guy that is not into promos. I mean, that just shows you. And we talked about this. They had to do it like this. This is going to be a season. It is going to be tough to watch this team. You're going to be treating this like 2017, 2018. Keeping eyes on young kids that are coming up that might have a future. Whatever Keith Law's list said, how those guys are doing in the minors, when we might see them at 35th and this is talk about Groundhog Day. It's funny that we're talking about this on Groundhog Day. We did this already, okay, in 2017 and 2018. But hey, we got some talent. There's some excitement with the farm, but you're not going to get a lot of wins in 2025. So with the 20th anniversary of the 05 World Series, you had to get creative, and the 125, right? Yeah. Celebrating 125 years of the historic franchise. A lot of things that you could pick from. And I was hoping and praying that they'd be creative, do some different things, expand what you've already been doing. And they did that. So give me your top 5. I would love to hear your top 5.
Okay. So one thing I have to consider with me is I do try and steer away from shirts or jerseys for the most part, because as a person that needs a 2X, usually it's like
a Philly cheesesteak back to the hotel because he didn't get a side.
This gentleman looks like he takes Philly cheesesteaks back to the hotel room. Or sew 2 of those shirts together. Okay, so the first one, which is early on in the season, I really like the 125th anniversary blanket, because I think it's a functional thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
So that's on 327. So that one I really did like. Obviously, the Dick Allen bobblehead is one that we've known about for a while. That's on May 3rd. For me, Star Wars night and a Steve Stone Stormtrooper bobblehead.
Oh yeah.
I've got, as a Star Wars fan, that means like I got to be there for that. And Steve Stone,
and I think that might be Steve Stone's first like White Sox themed bobblehead. Someone can check me on that. Hawk had obviously a bunch of them. There was never a Benetti. Darren Jackson appeared with Hawk in that classic broadcast booth one. I don't think there's been a Len Casper. There was never a Farmio, unfortunately, or a Rooney. This could be the first Stoney.
Well, you would know. You have all of them. I mean, you can just walk around your basement and go, well, that's not here.
I'm missing probably, I don't know, 6 to 8. My brother sounds.
I don't know. 6 to 8.
But yeah, that's right up your alley. That's
a good one. I got to get there for that night. This is a pretty simple one, but just because it speaks to our youth, the 1993 division jersey, division champs hat on June 7th. Pretty simple, but it's a hat. It's something that I can fit into, so that works. This one I think is really cool. I'm going to go more than 5. Sorry. The 1959 Comiskey Park radio.
Yes. Yeah.
That seems too freaking cool not to have. That reminds me of, and I wish I had. Do you have the Hawk alarm clock?
I sure do. Absolutely.
Do. Yeah. That's something I wish I had. Maybe I'll take it from your house someday. I know I probably wouldn't be able to fit into it. Maybe if I wore it open, but the 2005 World Champs Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, that is nice. That design. Yeah.
That's a cool one. The replica statue, Mark Burley on July 12th. The 4 complete game pitchers bobblehead. That one you're going to get on July 13th. A snow globe. Who doesn't love a good snow globe? I do. Christmas in July on the 28th. And the Ozzie Guillen bobblehead. That's really cool. So those are the ones that really, I had a couple more, but those are the ones. And there's sports media days on September 17th. Do we get invited? That we get a special, maybe you and I get a special bobblehead.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We got to talk to somebody. I used to have some contacts with that. Because I used
sports media. I used to
get the when I was with Locked On, I got the invite to go to those food, the introduction to the food things, which that's a whole nother rollout. The promos are outstanding, and there might be some more sprinkled in. But the whole food rollout, who knows what new stuff they might have, food and drink. I mean, is Yingling going to be at Sox Park, Pat? Can you even talk about that?
Can I talk about it? Well, it's whenever you're in this business, it'll be presented to the vendors. But when you don't have a sponsorship, it makes it difficult. So I'm not going to say yes or no, but I can tell you can get it all around the ballpark. You can get it Cork and Kerry. You can get it Turtles. You can go get it on tap right now if you wanted to. So it's right there for you.
Yeah. I was, I'm in this bowling league, Pat.
Which I never, by the way, I've known you a long, long time. And if I would have told myself at some point, Nick Murawski will say, well, I'm in this bowling league, I would have said, you're a crazy person. But there you are, bowling league, Nick. You're a Kegler is what you are.
We were in that White Sox bowling league you put together.
With that, it was the White Sox bowling league. I mean, you got a White Sox bowling pin out of it. That's the only reason why you
and a bus ride and a bus ride.
And
half of us almost
Jesus walked into a ballpark with free food.
Good Lord.
The bowling was just that was the dues you had to pay to get the payoff at the end.
But no, I'm enjoying myself. But they had it at the bowling alley. They had the big sign up by the bar, coasters for everybody. It's alive and well out in these parts.
Oh yeah, it's alive and well everywhere, buddy.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a good list, Pat. I mean, you can't miss.
Sorry, it was a lot. I apologize.
No, you overlapped on a lot. That I was looking at. We have talked, and I have talked so much about the statues. I don't know why it matters so much to me. And I think it's because I'm a completist. I have a collector's kind of disorder. I don't think it's hoarder, but when you're going to present, hey, there's 8 of them in the collection, collect all 8. I'm like, you better believe I will. If that's a challenge,
they better not discontinue that serial before I can collect all 8.
And that really hurts is when they discontinue and you're like, this isn't complete. And I feel a void. And that's what's happened with those statues on the concourse. They have not made a statue for every retired number. I think Ted Lyons is still missing a statue. And Mark Burley, the most recent, of course, I was at his jersey retirement. And that was just the Sox got just absolutely beat down by the Athletics. But it was a wonderful day to honor Mark Burley. And I was like, well, they gave Paulie his statue right away, and Frank got his statue pretty quickly. I'm sure Burley's is coming around the corner here, and it's been a while. It's been a while. And a guy like Burley, who was such an anchor to that 2005 staff team, I mean, a fan favorite, so happy he was at Sox Fest. I heard he bought a round of drinks for everybody. I don't know how many were in attendance at that point, but what a likable dude. And it was like, it feels like this is the time, the 20th anniversary, honor him. Let's get that complete out there. I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be outside the stadium. Are they bringing the statues out? Is it going to fit nicely on the concourse? But that happening, and I've talked about it so often, it feels like, and I can't be the only one. And I sometimes feel though like there's something wrong with me because people will say,
never. No, you're perfectly normal.
What's the big deal with statues? I don't care about statues. Whatever. I want to see them win. I'm like, I get that. I absolutely agree with you. However, you got to honor your past, man. You've got to honor that. I mean, I think that's what makes the fan experience so great. We've talked about team Hall of Fames and how awesome that is to have guys that might not be qualifying perhaps for a jersey retirement or definitely not the Hall of Fame, but guys that have come through the White Sox, maybe like a Bobby Thigpen or a Jack McDowell. Or Joe Creedy, or these guys that would be so cool if we had like a Hall of Fame where we'd have a little induction ceremony every year, bringing guy Karkovice, these guys. So honor your history, and this is the 125, right? So
Yeah.
that statue, that's so awesome, and I feel like I've got to be there that whole weekend, because then they've got which I've been banging the drum on, the replica statue. You got to give out, you got to present the statue, and then you got to have the replica statues.
Right.
I'm staring at the 5 that they did, Minnie Minoso. You've got Billy Pierce, you've got Carlton Fisk, Frank Thomas, and Paul Konerko. So Nellie Fox and Louis Aparicio, they have statues out there. They did not give any replica statues out for those guys. And they never gave out a replica statue for Charles Comiskey. They're honoring him in a different way. But so those things are bugaboos to me. They just eat at me as a collector. So I am very happy. That's tops of my list is the Burley statue and the replica.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I wondered, have they talked about what the statue will look like yet? Like how are they, like they've revealed what the mold is going to be?
I thought there was a little short video of
the
artist, the sculptor, and kind of peeling away and designing it, and it just looked like one of his classic pitching motions. It wasn't like the hands on head at the end of the perfect game. It wasn't that. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the final is. But how about that? There's going to be a documentary on the 05 team this summer.
I saw that. That's pretty interesting.
Chills with the little snippets that you were able to see.
How can how can that be viewed? Is it on Chicago Sports Network?
You got to pay extra. If you have the app, it's another $15 to watch the documentary.
I think they should do. I think they should do a move between the legs. That statue,
or his sliding on the tarp.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good move.
Head first sliding on the tarp, but. Show the documentary on the jumbotron and do a movies in the park. Let people come down with picnic blankets.
You really should have gotten a job in marketing with the White Sox.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. How about it when we were at the college radio station? I felt I had ideas all the time. I had an ideas journal.
Some were good. Some were.
But I was taking swings. Okay, sometimes you miss, but I just kept going.
You got to shoot for the moon. That's you.
You have got to absolutely shoot for the moon. So show the documentary at the park, movies in the park, do something like that. But that's awesome. I can't wait for that. Burley statue and giveaway 100%. Now it's the other bobbleheads, Pat. Yeah, obviously I'm a bobblehead guy, and there's some others that I know that listen, and there's on social media that we know that are big bobblehead. My brother John is a larger collection than I have, believe it or not.
Wow.
He's got some deep cuts before bobblehead collecting kind of picked up. He's got a couple that were kind of given away during fantasy camps, and that are really, really rare. So yeah, he's got to get his collection on display. But dude, how about, the Dick Allen one you talked about, but how about that ALCS, those 5 the 4 horsemen? That one, I've never seen anything like that. That is just phenomenal.
That's gonna draw an early, and I don't know, I didn't write down the how many fans they give it to, like the first 10,000 first.
You know what was been really weird? A lot of these bobbleheads are on Sunday afternoon. I think they're calling it Bobblehead Sunday. And they're for the first 7,500. Really odd number.
Wow.
I've never seen a 7,500. The lowest I've ever seen was the Paul Konerko Captain America bobblehead a couple of years ago on 4th of July. And it was like 12,000. I'm like, that's a really low number. It's 4th of July, and that's a killer bobblehead for Paul Konerko in the 83s, looking like Captain America. 7,500 for some of these gems. You're going to have to camp out 4 to 5 hours ahead of time. I'm just telling you right now.
I wonder if it's because of the sheer volume of giveaways that they have. It's like
perhaps
we can't do first 20,000 for all of these things.
Sydney corrected me. Thank you, Sydney. The Four Horsemen is 10,000. That's a little bit more palatable. The Gian, which I love, the Gian is doing the Bobby Jenks symbol, calling for Bobby Jenks.
Now
that's what that
beautiful.
mold is. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
and that's 7,500. Speaking of Gian, before I talk about the other bobbleheads and my love for all of them, retire the number, retire the jersey, finish it off. Just you've unless he's just saying no, I don't want it right now. Let's wait. Okay, it's his business, but finish it. You've done a really, really nice job with these promos. You're going to get people at the ballpark. You know, they'll at least be enjoying the giveaways. You're going to honor the 05 team with the statue, with the documentary. There might be other things. Retire the jersey. End it. Oh, the slam dunk. It'd be a slam dunk.
Do you think now they'll add normally, right? They'll add different things.
They'll add a couple. They'll add a couple.
So you think that's like they're just going to have that as the carrot out there? Like, ooh, maybe we will. Maybe this is the right time.
It could be. They could build suspense. This was kind of they wet everybody's whistle, and then that is going to be the hammer.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question, Nick.
Yeah.
And you know, I continue to hear, and some of it's for public, some of it's just whispers that I hear, that you know there's serious consideration for this owner to sell this team. Serious consideration.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a top priority for Jerry before he does decide to move on?
To retire Guillen's uniform?
Yes.
You know, I want to know the relationship that they have. It has to be somewhat strong for Guillen to have been kept around, you know, NBC Sports Chicago. I know what Guillen has said and the family has said about Jerry, and I think there's been reciprocity. The Miami thing did not go over very well. The trade to the Marlins, there was some bad blood there. I think Guillen, you know, burned some bridges, but didn't burn it enough where it couldn't be repaired a little bit. Thus, the reunion of coming back within the organization and being on the pre and post, which he does a phenomenal job. You know, he's must-see TV at times. And the way he's able to say what he says, and like there's just no repercussions. I think there's a lot of love there. And I think Jerry would want to honor him. I really do. I don't know if it's priority number one, but it should be. And if he cares at all about the fans and the fan experience, and he gets the fact that, look, this is going to be a painful year, and he has greenlit, I'm assuming, all of these promos, all of this stuff, the way they rolled it out, all really classy. I don't know, like if that where's the holdup with that? You know, maybe he's asked, and Guillen's just like, I want grandkids to be older. I just, you know, it's not for me right now. I don't know. There might be something else going on.
I don't see Ozzie Guillen as that. I don't see. It's like if somebody wants to honor Ozzie, I think he'd be fine with it. It's odd to me. I mean, I'm not going to say he's all about me type of guy, but I think he'd like to be. Who wouldn't want to be celebrated, right? We're all human. It's I don't know. And is it really up to him? It's like, hey, we're retiring your number, so whether you like it or not, we're going to do it. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. I know there's people that say, who cares? Who cares about retired numbers? It's all just, again, I want a winning product on the team. I want to see winning baseball. I get that. I think two things can be happening right here. I want winning baseball. I am sick and tired of, you know, I know this could be smoke and mirrors, and a lot of people, and I've said it too, is I was kind of done, and you've brought me back in. And now I have to really look at that schedule and say, okay, how am I going to carve out my summer?
They know how to get a Nick Murawski. I'll tell you. They like, okay.
Well, I had I'll tell you what, I had someone calling me this week, leaving me a voicemail. asking me about ticket packages. So I think they knew exactly what was going on. They're like, we're going to drop this. Murawski's he's going to salivate over this. After it's marinated for about 5 days, we're going to place a phone call, and we are back.
Yeah.
Everybody's back.
Here, I'll tell you what, if the White Sox do use what a lot of sales companies use, a software called Salesforce, right? They have their clients or their partners. It's all there, and it's likes and dislikes. Nick Murawski likes all these certain things, and they'll put reminders on there. Like, Nick Murawski, big promotional guy, probably want to call him back when the promotional schedule comes out.
Oh,
boom.
Yeah.
Reminder shoots up from Salesforce. Somebody better get a hold of Nick Murawski, and we're gonna just kind of throw that out there and reel them back.
What, man, I'm toying around with one of those flex packages if they have them still, where I can pick my games.
I knew it.
I can pick my games, and just because I've got my list of promos, if I could pick my games, and there's those flex packages, oh boy,
look out.
I got to carve out my
now,
summer.
Do you get guaranteed the giveaway then if you're a flex package?
No, you still have to show up, but
okay,
you map out your tickets, and it might be at a discount than obviously just paying straight up, but that's something I got to seriously consider now, because they really threw me a curveball here. I mean,
how does this conversation go with your wife, by the way? Do you walk up to her and go, I know that we were talking about budgeting and how much money we were going to save, but look at this bobblehead list of things that just came out. And
I mean, I kind of start planting the seed, early. There's just like kind of casual chatter of like, I think that promo schedule is going to be, I kind of have to take a look and see what they're doing. And then it's like, it gets dropped and I'm like, wow, there's some real good ones. I think you might even like some of these promos.
So you make it like it's your idea. So at the end of the day, you go, well, it's your idea. Look at the things
I thought you said you wanted to go to more Sox games with Vince, and that would be nice. And we might want to really sit down and prioritize it, because now we have concrete dates. So yeah, it's a several tiered process I have. So that's how I operate. And we gotta, look, after that, the Four Horsemen bobblehead, which is just awesome. You got Charles Comiskey, which I know people are bad mouthing Charles Comiskey, and I'm telling you, read the book, Turning the Black Sox White. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. You'll have a different look on Comiskey. You absolutely will.
Okay. So are people still out there actively bashing Charles Comiskey?
I think there's some people like, whoa, you didn't have to make a Charles Comiskey bobblehead, but you did. And I'm like, okay, I don't see I'm not negative about it. I will absolutely get that into my collection.
Okay. I'm in for it. I'm there.
How about Bill Veeck or Bill Veeck as some we needed a Schriffen talking bobblehead where he just makes that panther noise. First 38,000 get one. They still have leftovers. Oh boy.
The Bill Veeck, yeah, that'd be that's cool. Somebody asked earlier, will it have a wooden leg?
That is to be determined. If they're not going to put it, well, you know what? Again, I still think they should have a heater in Dick Allen's mouth. We've talked about it last episode. Yeah, give Veeck. I think Veeck had a bottle opener, right, in that peg leg of his. So that's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. You're honoring the 125. So you got a Charles Comiskey, you got a Bill Veeck. There's like a Babe Ruth. Who is it? Is it Aparicio, or there's some figurine that they're giving away, which is really cool, to a nod to, the All-Star game, here way back when, and just Ruth playing at old Comiskey. And that's awesome. There is an Aparicio bobblehead. I love that. Again, honoring, that era. You're hitting, all these different fan bases. And if they care about it, but that could bring conversation up. You know, a grandfather or something talking to a grandchild, going to Aparicio bobblehead and sharing stories. You know, they're releasing these different items, and maybe younger Sox fans are saying to their father, uncle, mother, aunt, grandmother, whatever, who is that?
Yeah.
And boom, that starts a conversation. You know, you rope fans in, and there's a dialogue, and you can start celebrating and connecting these different eras. You know, that's what it's all about, is to not forget your past as an organization, and hopefully better days ahead. Pat, how do you not, especially you and I, how do you not get a Ray Durham bobblehead? I mean,
oh yeah, I saw
boy,
that.
oh boy.
Yeah. Ray.
I mean, come on. That was awesome. When I saw that, I just had to see if this was a fake or not. Because
am I seeing this?
They blew me away. I thought for sure we were going to get a couple Luis Robert Juniors,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And no, man, they really, that is awesome to honor Ray Durham. So
yeah, that's good on them. I mean, I don't know what was Ray's career after the White Sox. I don't even remember.
San Francisco Giants, right?
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Boy, could he come back and play? We could use a second baseman.
Man, he was something too. You knew what you were getting out of Ray Durham. Solid. I think it was Greg who's an avid Ggtb listener, made a mention that 2000 team 25 years ago, that 2000 team, which was such a fun team.
Yeah.
Such a fun team. And they just fell apart against the Mariners. Frank fell apart against the Mariners in the postseason. Should have beat that team, should have moved on. I had tickets to the next round. I had tickets, and I'm like, this is going to be a cakewalk. They're going to get past the Mariners.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I can't wait for that Ray Durham. That might be a 7,500 giveaway. And then how about this one? Ken Griffey Jr.
That one made me chuckle a little bit.
That's just fun. It's just fun. What, he played a month and a half.
Spitballing
a month and a half. But you're in a way giving a little nod to the 2008 team. Okay.
One of the I mean, it's probably one of the greatest plays in White Sox history. Now, with a grain of salt, there's not a ton. So, but that moment, that night, that game versus that team, and you think about the players that were also on that team. He had a Jim Thome, a Ken Griffey Jr., you know, a Jermaine Dye, an AJ Przinsky, all on the same team. It's crazy to almost think about. And that catch, not the catch. I mean, the catch was the catch, but the throw and then the tag at the end in a 1-0 game by Johnny Danks, the man that ruined long-term contracts for any other pitcher after that point. I mean, that's a fun bobblehead. Why not?
Yeah. And Peyton, I put it up in the stream there. Peyton, you hit it right on the head. Low-hanging fruit is a Jim Thome bobblehead, a White Sox legend, Jim Thome. That's the low-hanging fruit.
Jim Thome. Did Jim Thome
not
in the knee at one point?
Not. He's, from what I understand, an incredibly likable human being. One of the nicest humans you'll ever meet.
And you hate him.
I do not. I just do not like the reference White Sox legend. He is not a White Sox legend. I'm sorry. Anyway, you could have gone that route, but you went Griffey. I love it. And again, you are going to find people, Sox fans, young Sox fans, that might still be struggling to comprehend who Ken Griffey Jr. is. That's a whole nother story, but might say, what? He played on the White Sox? And you get to have that conversation.
Yeah. That's Peyton. Good on you for that one. I do like that. Ken Griffey Jr.
You take a dip
next year,
and then you end it, huh?
Take Ken Griffey Jr. statue.
Well, you got to have the number retired.
Okay, so you got to retire the number 17. and then you do a Ken Griffey Jr. Statue, and then you get yourself a replica. That's next year.
Yeah.
Those are next year problems. These are this year problems.
Oh yeah, no, they did so many right things with us, and we, I mean, you mentioned the Hawaiian shirt, which is more of like a graphic Hawaii like shirt, but it's all 2005 images.
Yeah,
classic images. If I'm not mistaken, it's Paul Konerko with the fist in the air after the the monster shot. I mean that's just that's what we were hoping for, and by we I mean me.
Yeah,
That love these types of these types of promos.
I can't wait to see you walking around with that like the tank top underneath with just sporting that
tank, no
Hawaiian
tank
jersey, nothing
tank
needed?
underneath, no.
Okay,
And that my friend is not. That's in the summer rotation. Okay. I rarely put giveaway items in my regular rotation. There was a couple of years ago where they had a killer, very vibrant Hawaiian shirt that has become in my rotation at barbecues, different events. That 05 shirt that they've got, that could be a regular rotation.
I can't wait to see it the next summer barbecue, just sporting that. It's going to look great on you. I'll admire it.
Well, and the jerseys and I think there's a couple hooded sweatshirts that have, nods to different, different logos, which they've had so many different uniforms and that would be, I don't want to be greedy, but break out some of those unis if you can. I know there's all these rules and regulations that MLB and whoever's producing the jerseys have, but man, it would be nice to see on some of those Sundays. Some of the throwbacks. It
would be. I'm as long as it's. I think I'm good on the 83s. Let's sprayed all fields.
Yeah, they had. Well, they did in 2001. They did the 1901 jerseys that had kind of the red, white, and blue Americana. There was an American flag. That was the Jose Canseco.
Yeah.
Era, which, boy, if they had a Jose Canseco bobblehead, oh my goodness. I'm calling my rep tomorrow, and I'm saying I'm in.
You better hope that your rep is listening to this show tomorrow because he will be. I heard somewhere that maybe you said that you'd be in. We can make that happen.
I am absolutely in. You can pass on the David Wells bobblehead. I don't need a David Wells bobblehead. I'm fine with that. That was not one of my favorite moments.
No.
But yeah, they did a nice job with these promos, and then how they released it with like those kind of trading cards, and on the back gave you the information and why we're honoring this person and the date. That's really nice. I did not see a magnetic schedule, unless I missed it somewhere.
Boy.
So something that there's always going to be some negatives.
Is that just a given thing though, that you just get it on opening day? You're getting a magnetic schedule.
That's not a given thing anymore. What you have to do is you have to, and this is just, hey, I'm just helping people out here because I do this regularly. They still make pocket schedules, and what you have to do is you kind of have to wait maybe a week or so after the season starts. This is what's been happening regularly. You will find the magnetic schedules by the little ticket areas where they're you can go to talk to a rep, like around the concourse. They've got a little stack.
Nice.
You walk past and you'd make a couple, hey, what's going on? What's your name? Oh, okay. You got a card? Excellent. Oh, what do you got? What are these over here? Magnetic schedules? Excellent. I'll take a few. You'll be hearing from me shortly. And then they've got the pocket schedules over by the ticket booths, where you exchange tickets or whatever, which is kind of odd because everything's on your phone, but that they still have them. They have them in different ways.
Yeah, Nick, back in the day, this is a long time ago, and it was back when I was working at Colzer Brothers Distributing, we used to get pallets upon pallets of pocket schedules.
Yeah,
as Miller Lite is the sponsor of the Chicago White Sox for many years. that was part of our thing, like going out and distributing all the getting the cardboard little holders, and every bar that I had had a thing, and they would ask for, where are the pocket schedule? Where are the pocket schedule? We'd have to get them out. There was one year that we got a shipment. It was a misship. Something we would get some of our shipment would be Spanish, and the majority obviously was in English, because you have several accounts that are Spanish speaking accounts. But it got reversed one year. And boy, oh boy, you would have thought that we ruined people's day. Like, you can still tell who they're playing that day, but it's all in Spanish. So we had majority of Spanish schedules. That's how important pocket schedules were at one point to people in their lives.
Well, I think it still has some power. I carried around in my wallet all season long.
Yeah.
So they're a little thinner these days. They're really condensed. They used to be that whole like 8-fold. It was like you're pulling out a road map, to the whole country. You're like, let me get my pocket schedule. It was like, an inch and a half thick. You're like, oh my goodness. There's like all these diagrams of all the stadiums they're going to be at, and little maps and like everything. And they've pared that down. But they're still around, man.
You just got to know where to look, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
but I don't see them as many. I don't see them in as many bars or liquor stores like I used to. I do not.
They just don't make them anymore like that.
Yeah. Well, limitless paper in a paperless world. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they keep it going. I'm sure the magnetic schedules will continue. But great promo schedule. Hats off to everybody that got together on that. Hopefully, if you're listening, my notes, again, retire that jersey. Think about a movie in the park for that doc. That would be really nice. So yeah, really well done. Did you see the clip of like Jerry at Sox Fest, like kind of peering over the balcony, like sneaking a peek of what was going on, what he created here? Yeah. And then he was recognized and then just got like instantly booed and then kind of scuttled away. Did you take enjoyment in that? Was that
Did I take enjoyment? No, actually, it makes me feel sad for the human, right? It was almost like when Oswald Cobblepot.
I knew you were going to go there. That's a perfect reference.
Tomatoes at him and the lettuce.
Yeah.
That's how I felt for him. And then he just whisked away, and that was it for Jerry for the night. I have that. I'm the type of person, Nick, even though, I'll never agree or be happy with what Jerry has done to this organization over his tenure, because I think it's been wrong move after wrong move after wrong move. But still, as a human being, I would feel awful if I was in that setting and getting booed or the sell the team stuff. I mean, you just feel for as a human being. Now, I quickly will get over it. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I do feel somewhat bad, right? Because shouldn't you be able to read the room, Jerry? Right? This is a small setting. These are all White Sox fans. If you're there, you're a diehard White Sox fan. If you're a diehard White Sox fan, there's a good chance that you're not really happy with Jerry Reinsdorf. You probably shouldn't be showing your face at Sox Fest. Is that just him being so obtuse or so blind to what the reality is?
I think there's a lot of that in general, just based on comments that he makes when he does make comments. He seems really tone deaf and just unaware. Maybe someone whispers things in his ear, I hope, and he just decides to disregard. I'm kind of torn. And one, I kind of appreciated that he was there. Like, you should be at these Sox Fest. You should be addressing the audience at these Sox Fest. I think Rickett does it with the Cubs, and I'm sure there's other owners that get out there and they talk to their fans at the start of the convention. It's like, I own this team and I've owned it for a damn long time. It hasn't been going well, but screw it. I'm going to, just address and try to spin this thing It could be a prepared statement. It doesn't have to be very long, but I feel like he should have been doing it for a long time, especially since it hasn't been a Sox Fest in a while. But I get why he's not after what happened last year. I didn't feel bad.
No,
I felt like that was what was coming to you, man.
Yeah.
But I also I appreciated that he at least showed his face and he showed
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
So.
I again, one, are you that blind to how people might react? And
well, if he would have released a statement saying, "I'm shocked. I couldn't believe that's how I was received after I gave you a Ken Griffey Jr. bobblehead. This is the thing I get." If he said something like that, then I would say, "Yeah, you're kind of aloof, man. You're worse than I thought."
Yeah.
But he probably went back wherever that little kind of Lincoln Landing thing was, that little balcony that he was hanging out in when he left. He probably
Lincoln
was
Landing. Oh, is that really what you're referring to it as?
That little dugout balcony where
Yeah.
Lincoln sat at. Isn't that I thought we're all using that term, are we not? Okay.
I don't know. I've never heard
I guess
that.
I'm the only one.
I've never. Well, you are Mr. History of the presidents.
When someone
guy.
says that, you instantly know what type of seating arrangement it was.
Okay.
It wasn't just a balcony. It looked like it was one of those ducked out things. But anyway, I think he went back and he was like, "Yeah, I hope," he said to somebody, "Yeah, that was about right. Yeah, I kind of felt like that was going to happen. I gave it a shot, type of thing."
Yeah. And I've heard that he just genuinely doesn't really care about what
you can't. Think. I don't think you can. If you take it to heart, then I mean he can't be really taking it to heart, because you think you'd either do something or it would just kill you if you really took it to heart.
Yeah. And Peyton, I think, puts it really well. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Sure,
type of thing,
of course.
Right? So,
of course,
it's almost like, well, listen, is this going to be so horrible? I know these people hate me. I'll show up. At least it won't be written that I was scared and wouldn't show up. But I don't have to be out there very long to suffer the slings and arrows. But does it distract from? I don't know. I don't really know how the event went. I don't. Was it being recorded? I obviously it was recorded. There was things there to show it was, but it wasn't like there were commercial breaks or anything. So does it distract from what's going on in the event? Maybe maybe it wasn't a good idea for him to be there, because if you're on stage as a player or something like that, and you're trying to do whatever the event is, and then all of a sudden people are chanting "sell the team," it's kind of a distracting and embarrassing look, I suppose.
Yeah, like if he came out, talking about the 05 team or something, or you've got some fan favorites that are on the mic, hopefully you'd be able to read the room and have a good sense. But I'm not gonna spend too much more time. I just thought it was interesting, noteworthy in an off season where there's absolutely nothing going on. You really have to. You got to chop up the promo schedule, Sox Fest. And I mean, the biggest thing before we get to our quote of the week, there was this little kind of, and it wasn't even a fire. It was a kind of some heat on Luis Robert Jr. and the Cincinnati Reds. I don't know if you saw any of this, of Sox wanting top 2 prospects from the team's organization, and the Cincinnati Reds weren't willing to play ball. And I've heard the Cincinnati Reds a few times throughout the offseason. And I just think the White Sox are absolutely overvaluing Luis Robert Jr. I understand he's still under control, and it is I've said it to somebody online, of combination of that potential, what he still could be, and and maybe the contract control or something. But if I'm a team looking to deal for Luis Robert Jr., I'm like, White Sox, we don't even know what we're getting here.
Yeah.
This guy just has not played a lot of games consistently over the years. Yeah, he's got some damn exciting raw talent. He could do many things to improve a ball club, but sometimes it doesn't look like he wants to. Sometimes it looks like he's just kind of half into it. And maybe that's because he's been on a horrible team for a while.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is he can't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say, is it good on the Sox for trying to like get the absolute best, or is it you're delusional because you're not going to get what you think you're going to get from Roberts? You might as well find the best deal possible. And if you think you're going to get something better mid-year because he's going to go on a heater, I guess you wait.
I think it just shows that the Sox aren't really that motivated to move him at this point. It's like, listen, if you want to take him, this is what we want for him. And
yeah,
they're just showing their cards. And listen, to me, I would do the same thing. I'm not really, as a general manager, would be very motivated at this point to sell low on him. There's no reason to. I've got control. He's especially given where the salary is going to end up this year. It's relatively inexpensive to keep him, and who knows? He's not going to be on this team long term. He won't be on this team when they're winning. You're not going to be able to thread that needle and hope that he's hitting his peak in 5 years. That's not realistic. Mm-hmm. But you might as well try and hold out as long as you can and see if you can get him on a heater and sell when his price is a little bit higher. Maybe you do get those two top prospects. Probably not. But, you might as well just say, listen, this is where it goes back to, Nick, to the set the market standard. We've now set the market for what we believe he is. And maybe if he does get better, maybe you can ask for more. Shoot for the moon.
Well, and yeah, shoot for the moon, and really, you've got him in the short hairs, a team, so to speak. Especially if there's a bidding war. If you've got a few teams that are finding themselves in a situation around the trade deadline that they didn't think they were going to be in this spot, they got a chance to maybe get to the postseason and beyond. They're experiencing health and guys are having career years and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, I think we could actually even retain Luis Robert Jr. beyond this. That then you might have something there. I just think it's a little different than the Cease thing in my mind from a fan perspective. I don't know, just you'd want to have a pitcher in-house right away. Like, I want to start the year with Cease. I want to have him in our system if we can, and not even risk an injury or anything middle of the year.
Yeah.
And I feel like pitchers are obviously held to that higher value than position players. Now, this isn't any ordinary position player in Luis Robert Jr. It's just there's a ton of question marks still.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Sox are really wanting it to be done. Maybe it'd be a distraction. Maybe Luis Robert Jr. saying something to the White Sox like, "Hey, get me out of here."
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to stick around if I'm him. I'm like, you're wasting me here.
But what favors does the organization owe Luis Robert Jr.?
Zero.
Zero. So you don't. Yeah, he can say all he wants. He wants to get out of here. But listen, you're under contract. You're obviously we're paying you to play baseball. We don't have to abide by your wishes in any way. It's not like you've been a long tenured legend player, like a Jim Thome.
lifetime contract.
So yeah, I don't know. To me, it just screams, listen, we're not motivated to move this guy right now. We know we can't get our max value. We're just going to ask for a lot, and maybe somebody's stupid enough to pay us.
Yeah, it would be stupid at this point, but I have a feeling he's going to still be on the team. Definitely into Arizona. Whether something happens in Camelback Ranch, I have a feeling we're going into the season with Luis Robert Jr.
Oh yeah, I would be floored if they traded him before the season.
Yeah. Well, buddy, I've got a quote of the week here, but I just want to thank everybody for being with us here on this Groundhog Day, early February, kind of gray and dreary. and not a ton going on, but man, love the chatter. Thank you so much for jumping in on all the promo stuff and the feedback and your thoughts about Sox Fest and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm getting excited for White Sox baseball. I know that's crazy. I took my car in to get some brake stuff done, and the guy, and I've gone to this place a couple times local, and the guy, looking at the car, he's like, oh yeah, I remember that car. I remember those plates. And of course I've got the White Sox plates, and he goes, it's just odd. You don't see, you don't see a lot of, White Sox fans and play. I'm like, it's tough, man, but I'm not going away. I'm not leaving.
Which that guy's a moron, because I've looked it up. The White Sox, you see a ton of White Sox license plates out there. In fact, I think there's more White Sox license plates than any other team in this state.
He might not get out much.
Well, he's a moron. You shouldn't let him do your breaks anymore. Go to somebody else.
He might not have been the actual person. He just might have been the office,
Well, whatever he is, he's not qualified to even, answer the phone.
And I will deliver that message next time I'm in.
An angry man from Shanahan said.
Yeah, I will deliver that. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for jumping in. Pass this, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Pass it along. It means a ton. And the audio available absolutely everywhere. Here's your quote of the week. This was from Getz recently, this offseason. Recently, this is our fearless leader, Chris Getz. We've done most of the heavy lifting for adding to the roster. The offseason is still here. And with the amount of free agents still available, there's a possibility for an addition here and there. End quote. So. You never know. You never know.
You're there. Maybe I'll pick it up. It's like you're walking through the grocery store and you're checking out, and it's like, oh, there's Junior Mint. Those are good. Throw those in the basket.
Those are good.
Here's a People magazine.
Those are refreshing.
I didn't really come in here for a People magazine. Yeah. Nobody reads magazines anymore, but I'll just throw it in there.
Let's just grab a bunch of different things and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Just close your eyes, make some decisions, and then put it all on the kitchen table when you get home and just sort it out and see what you came home with. It's just like,
mixed bag of things.
It's like Halloween when you're a kid. You're like, hey, I wasn't paying attention. People were just putting candy in the old pillowcase. I don't know. It's going to be a surprise when I get home, and then we'll figure it out. I feel like that's maybe Getz when we get to Arizona. I don't know. I have no idea what we got going on. We'll figure it out. We'll lay it all in the desert. We'll figure it out there. We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm happy he's around.
Oh, yes. Pat, always a pleasure, buddy. I feel so much better.
This was a fun show. We spent a lot of time talking about promotional items, which shows
shocks you
what kind of a state this team is in.
They're good items. It's a healthy schedule, and I will be back at the ballpark, hopefully seeing a lot of folks on those Sunday afternoon bobblehead games. But I'm looking forward to this opening day. I hope this the situation of yours comes.
Oh, I'll put in a request for 2. T for Wonderful. 2, baby.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for Pat Hester. I am Nick Murawski. Until next time, go Sox.